Hello everyone, welcome to Prosarium.net. Prosarium.net is an initiative to create positive representation for African women in games. We're doing this by documenting African women and their roles in the industry, from hobbyists to game developers to esports professionals and more. Be a part of this initiative by supporting us on Patreon. And now, let's get to today's video.
Alright, so we're talking to Maria Situmbeko. Is that how you pronounce her name?
Yes, it is.
Alright, it's great to hear from you. You were one of the first people we interviewed. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty cool. I feel honored to be here. Just happy to contribute. Yeah.
Alright, and we're happy to have you too.
Thanks.
So, when we interviewed you, you had just taken part in Global Game Jam, correct?
Right, yes.
Was that Global Game Jam 2021?
It was 2020.
Alright, Global Game Jam 2020. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has.
But I definitely remember your game. It was about the end of the world, right? Like trying to save the world.
Yeah. Little did we know the world would come to a standstill right
I know,
after.
right? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's absolutely
right?
crazy. Yeah. Do you remember how you felt about making the game? Was it your first time?
Yes, it was my first global game jam ever. I came there completely by accident. I wasn't actually planning to participate in a game jam. What had happened was a friend and we had another thing that we wanted to participate in, and it had to do with algorithms and stuff. And so we needed a place to meet up and practice, but we kept on forgetting. And so he said, "Hey, there's this game jam happening at this place. Why don't we meet up there?" And we did. I came in the building and I saw there was a whole bunch of people, and he had found himself in a team. And I was like, okay, I guess we're not doing anything. And then I found myself in a team, and that's how we started building. It was a crazy experience. It was just insane, but it was pretty fun, actually.
That sounds like it. But you're a programmer, right?
Yes, I am.
Can you tell me a bit about that, about your background in programming or what you do now?
Okay. Kind of like gaming, it also started completely by accident. I tend to start lots of accidental things. So I started programming, basically after high school. I had wanted to become a doctor. Being a doctor had always been my dream, from the time I was a little girl. But as I was going on and on in my life, I was kind of questioning whether that was something I really wanted to do. So because I was questioning, I didn't go to university right away after finishing. I just decided to look for some other stuff to do. And I came across like computer science recommendations, and I thought, okay, I guess this would be fun to do. But I ditched it and I didn't focus on it. Some time went by, and my brother, we had to enroll him in a school. And so we wanted to visit the school where we were pretty interested in. My mom, my brother, and we all went there. When we were going there, we passed by this building, and it was called Hackers Guild. And I was like, what? What is this place? Hackers Guild? And it looked pretty interesting, and we bypassed the building. So we went to check out my brother's school, whatever. When we were coming back, we saw the building again, and we almost bypassed it again. And until my brother and I were like, okay, can we just check this place out just to see what it's about? This name sounds cool. We went in there, and there was like green lights and all sorts of things, computers everywhere. And they basically told us they were a coding boot camp and said, hey, you should apply, blah, blah, blah. So they sent us the links that we would need to apply. And I did not apply until midnight, which I think that was when the deadline was. Just a few minutes before midnight, because I was thinking, is this a thing? But I ended up applying. I ended up getting in, and that started my whole programming journey.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that sounds so lucky.
Yeah.
Wow, with your programming experience and the fact that you took part in Global Game Jam once, have you worked on any games, even small ones, ever since then, or do you plan on doing that?
I had worked on a few since then. The first few that I had done, it was just like looking at a bunch of tutorials on how to make things like ping pong and stuff. But then after a while, I remembered one of the Game Jam participants, Tendai Njobu. She had made a visual novel game, and I was really interested in that. I'm like, okay, let me pause. What's visual novels? What's that all about? And so I got into that, and I started making one. I didn't finish, but yeah, I started making one.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting because everything you're saying, there's some connection for me. Like,
Oh
I
wow!
yeah, like I know about Hackers Guild. A friend actually was one of the co-founders, and
Oh,
also yeah, and also Tendai was the first person we interviewed for this. Like, yeah, this is
oh
so
wow!
exciting. It's so exciting to hear about all these cool connections.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
that's super cool.
Yeah. And are you aware of Women Game Jam that's coming up soon?
Yeah, I had seen it on Twitter, and I believe I registered. I'm looking forward to participating
Oh
in
my
that.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm
Exciting.
gonna have to finish up the visual novel that I started and submit that as something. Anyway, it depends on what the theme is, and I don't know what that is, but I'll probably try and do a visual novel type of thing.
Oh my gosh, that is really exciting. Like all these connections and now you're coming back to Women Game Jam. Yeah, this is gonna be really exciting. So if you had,
Yeah.
oh yeah, if you had all the money and you could, what would you do for game development in Africa or globally?
Um, I would definitely start in Africa, because I just feel like there's so much untapped potential there and just so many stories they could tell. We could tell just when it comes to Africa in general, whether it's games or writing or just anything, there's just so many stories that we could tell that we haven't told yet. So I would definitely focus on Africa. Just trying to just get everybody interested in game development, try and tell lots of really cool stories. I mean, there's so many stories we could tell about mythology, about history. We could even imagine whole new Afro futures and things like that. And I feel like there's just so much untapped potential. So I would definitely invest in existing African game development companies, try and build some more. Yeah, I think that's what I would spend my money on.
That sounds cool. No, that sounds perfect for the growth of the industry there. And
Yeah.
what do you think other women can learn from game development?
A lot. I feel like there's more to game development. When people think of game development, when I thought of game development, I just thought of the code and the blocks. But there's so much more to that. There's writing, there's storytelling, there's artistry. Um, there's so many cool things. So I feel like if women want to get into game development, there's so many different areas that they can get into, and there's so much that they could learn from that. Just when it comes to storytelling, that in itself is a really huge skill. And the way you can learn how to craft a story and tell it and craft dialogue, I feel like that's really important. There's also things like music, just developing music for a game. You have to think of what the theme of the game is, where it's going, what story it's trying to tell, so that you can also enhance that story through music. I feel like that's pretty cool. Soundtracks in general are just really cool in the way that they elevate a story. Animations, that's also something that's really cool. So I just feel like there's so much that anyone can learn from game development if they wanted to get into it. And even, yeah, just coding. Women can also learn the basics of coding, and just functions and how things relate to each other to build one big giant game. So I feel like there's so much that can be learned.
I definitely agree with you there. I really want to see more of that. In fact, that's one of the things I'm hoping to see and learn more through Rosarium, see more women taking on different roles, not just in game development, but also in gaming in general. It'll be exciting to see what's
Yeah.
out there. Yeah. And if you were the president, or if you would be able to recommend something to leaders, what do you think they can do to encourage game development?
Oh, there would be a lot. If I could recommend anything to leaders, it would start just basically in the schools. I mean, IT still isn't as widely taught as it should be, and even when it is, it's I guess, yeah, it's things that are helpful but not really helpful. I mean, we could have whole clubs that are dedicated to programming and coding. We could also sort of change the way we look at games from silly things that aren't going to take you anywhere in life to just industries, because gaming is an entire industry and it makes a lot of money. So instead of looking at games as just these silly things that you're stopped from doing, we could really shift the narrative about that. If I were president, I would go crazy if I were president. I feel like I'd just implement I would make it mandatory to learn. Well, I couldn't make it mandatory. Some people don't like that stuff, but I would really make sure that we have clubs that are dedicated to coding and or software development and have them focused on games. I would probably implement some gaming clubs too. Yes, people would probably look at me like I'm unserious, but hey, I'm the president, so who cares? Yeah, just I would really work on building industries that are just dedicated to all of this, so that people can realize that these are big industries and we can make money out of that by just telling our own stories as well.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Vote for Maria for president, by the way, guys.
Thank you. Yes.
And I have something interesting to tell you about. So you were talking about them like taking gaming more seriously. There's actually a case study for that. Poland. So Poland, like they take game development so seriously, and they actually use it to spread Polish culture. Like for example, like really popular games, The Witcher. The Witcher is originally a Polish novel series, and now it's a game, and now it's a series.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool stuff.
Exactly, just like that. Now imagine doing that with African history and African culture and things like that.
And I imagine doing that with Zambian history and culture. You get to see
right?
Yeah, you get to see all over the world. That would be really exciting.
That would be so cool.
And what would you expect to see in the game development industry in the next 5 years?
I'd really like to see just more Afrocentric stuff, and mainly built by African people. Just more of that. And I would like to see Zambia go up a little bit more as well. We're already doing some pretty cool things in the gaming space, and I just want that to continue and for us to continue to rise. And definitely more games that are built by Black women, of course, and Black Zambian women rise up and build some games. Yeah, so that's definitely what I would like to see in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I'm picturing that. I really do also want to see Zambia rise in the game development scene.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going to see that. And let's see, my last question. What content would you like to see more of on Coursera?
It would be cool if we could see more walkthroughs of the games that women built. That would be something that we would love to see more of. And apart from that, I don't know, just keep doing what you guys are doing. It's a really great thing, interviewing Black African women who are just building games. I just feel like that's really cool. And I would just like to see more of that.
Awesome. Thank you for for telling us that. You know, I would also love to see that. Now that you mentioned it, I think it's something that we're gonna do. Yeah, so it's been so great talking to you, Maria. And
Thank you for having me.
And I would like to first of all thank you for being here. But I would also like to thank our patrons for helping us get to be able to do these interviews. So thank you for that.
Hey.
Yeah. So do you have any closing remarks or anything you want to say?
I just want to say there's definitely lots of space for women to build games. And to be honest, you just have to get into it, find your way there, even if it's accidentally, like I found myself here. And, building games isn't some big thing that you need to be afraid of or something that you feel is only meant for a certain group of people. So just definitely experiment, look into it, and you can build some really cool games too.
Awesome. You heard it first from Maria. You can get into game development by accident and it'll be really cool. All right. Bye, everyone.